Okay. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another Progressive Voice mega show. Now we're gonna be going over a bunch of stories here. Actually, it's not all that many stories, but we're gonna be covering a few stories here. Now, one of them is pretty much breaking, almost breaking. Um, Now, this one is about the Mueller investigation. As you guys know, Mueller's a special counsel who's supposed to investigate the whole Russia scandal. Now, there are at least 3 Russian groups and 13 Russian individuals, Russian people, who have been indicted in the investigation. So this is pretty big now. And, before I get into the story, I wanted to just talk a little bit about I did a video saying, the truth about about Russiagate, and, it got a lot of dislikes in ratio to likes, and I was, and it kind of is, it's kind of stupid, I want to almost say, because it's starting to be really dumb, where essentially you're kind of holding on to this one side. You're holding on to this one side no matter what kind of information, what kind of evidence is shown to you, or any of that. You're just trying to defend that, and that's not good. It's not good to do that. And when you're just denying evidence that comes out saying that, there's no evidence that there was possible collusion, like the Trump Jr. meeting, and I know someone said that there wasn't a law, which there clearly was, and I've literally talked about it in other videos. I've stated the law verbatim. I showed to you guys. So please, just stay at the very least. I recommend being an agnostic until we get all the evidence and information, and this is part of it. So it says Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein announced the indictments of 13 foreign individuals and 3 entities in the special counsel probe. A federal court handed up indictments against 13 Russian individuals and 3 Russian entities in special counsel Robert Mueller's probe of Trump campaign ties to Russia. The Russian nationals are, quote, accused of violating U.S. criminal laws in order to interfere with U.S. elections and political processes. I want to say process. I like process better. President Donald Trump has disputed the widely shared view of U.S. law enforcement and intelligence services that Russia interfered in the 2016 presidential election. The Russians named in the indictment are accused of posing as Americans on social media to influence American political discourse in an operation that started as early as 2014. The indictment notes that the defendants were by mid-2016, quote, supporting the campaign of Donald Trump and disparaging Hillary Clinton, sometimes posing as Bernie Sanders or Jill Stein supporters. That second part, by the way, is just complete bullshit. Court documents also list the names of Russians involved and extensively list their efforts, as well as identifying many of the social media advertisement campaigns conducted by the Russians. The indictment also shows the Russians posed as Americans to communicate with, quote, unwitting individuals associated with the Trump campaign and other activists to coordinate their activities, including political rallies. So basically, you have these people, these Russians, Russian nationals, who have been indicted in this investigation. There are, certain things. Now, I want to get into a more in-depth article here, actually. So, here's what this says. It says, in addition, 3 defendants were charged with conspiracy to commit wire fraud and bank fraud, and 5 defendants with aggravated identity theft. Quote, the defendants allegedly conducted what they called information warfare against the United States, with the stated goal of spreading distrust towards the candidates and the political system in general. That was from the Deputy Attorney General, Rod Rosenstein. So, it says Mueller had convened the grand jury as part of his investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election. Blah, 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 blah. So this isn't really that big of a deal, but this gets more complicated than you would think because there are a lot of different things. So essentially you have one thing. There are a lot of different standards that are going on here because you have whether or not Russia meddled in the election and whether or not there was collusion is actually different. So collusion would mean that there was a kind of get together with Trump and Russia. Now, Meddling, on the other hand, would just be the Russians just, meddling. That wouldn't have any kind of collusion because Trump or, his, goons aren't coordinating with Russia. So those are actually two different standards. Now, a whole different standard, which is what I talked about, is that collusion and the votes being changed are not the same thing. So a lot of people are really excited, right? A lot of Democrats are like, hooray, hoo-yah, amazing, awesome, dope, woohoo. But they shouldn't be. This means nothing whatsoever. It means absolutely nothing. Even if they were to do social media shit, that is something that should be expected in an election. What do you think how could you stop that type of stuff from happening completely? Like, that's something that's so out of your control that you need to be able to cover the margin for. You need to be able to cover the margin for that. That's so, like, nothing. I mean, we've literally intervened into governments, like, completely, and they're talking about social media. Like, that isn't jack shit. So this seems to me to be just a whole big-ass nothing burger as to anything really serious. When there will be serious, any kind of evidence or anything that comes up that's like, wow, like this is some real shit. Number one, if there are votes that were changed, which would absolutely be revelations, which I 99.9% sure didn't happen. The only other thing that I could see that being a really huge thing is if there was actual collusion between Trump and Russia, which means that Trump got together with the Russians and said, yo, G, come hook it up with this, because there are laws on the books against that, and you're not supposed to, do that, where you're basically a domestic election is being controlled by foreigners, which you can't do that. So, and also, of course, you have all kinds of conflicts of interest with Trump. There was just the situation with Deutsche Bank where he postponed the charges. I don't remember if it was charges or convictions or sentences, but he postponed them because he had a fuckload of debt to Deutsche Bank. So the dude, and money laundering is going to be something that continues to come through because that's something that he does and his campaign does. So now I'm sure you guys, we're going to be switching stories here, so I'm sure you guys know about Stormy Daniels. She was a porn star who had an affair with Donald Trump back in 2006 when he was married to Melania Trump, and I believe she was already pregnant with Barron. Now we have another woman who has come forward saying that she had an affair. Now, The Hill says, a former Playboy centerfold who alleged that she had an affair with President Trump more than a decade ago said in a new interview that a purported effort to cover up the story by the National Enquirer took her, quote, rights away. The model, Karen McDougal, told The New Yorker that she felt like she could not so much as even mention Trump's name after the Enquirer paid her $150,000 for a story about the alleged affair and then withheld it from publication. Quote, at this point, I feel I can't talk about anything without getting into trouble because I don't know what I'm allowed to talk about, she told the publication. I'm afraid to even mention his name. McDougal claims that she had an affair with Trump in 2006 while he was married to his current wife, First Lady Melania Trump. The Wall Street Journal reported in November 2016 that American Media Inc., the company that owns Enquirer, paid McDougal $150,000 for a story about the alleged affair with Trump and then never published it. Instead, the company reached an agreement with McDougal to author a regular column about aging and fitness, though that deal largely went unfulfilled after Trump won the White House. So essentially what you have here is she's basically alleging that she had an affair. Now, oh yeah, I forgot to mention this disclaimer, if you will. She said that it was completely consensual, so there's no sexual harassment, rape, or anything like that, or assault. This is just an affair. If you don't know what an affair is, I'm sure you do. Anyways, that was kind of a joke. But anyways, whether or not I believe her is an interesting question. So before I read the article, I had some skepticism. And I think it's a little bit of a dangerous precedent to set as well, because then you're just going to have like women basically coming out in droves saying this and that. I don't know how this could... The only way I could see this really being proven is basically a massive amount of people, or even like a good amount of people saying, yeah, like this did happen, or even Trump himself saying it. I want to know what you guys think. I want to know if you guys think that she actually did have an affair with him. We know who Trump is, We know who Trump was. He's a crazy dude. He's a party guy, and he just fucks whoever. We already know he had an affair with Stormy Daniels, while his wife was, or I don't know if it was a wife, wife at the time, pregnant with Barron Trump. So we have, that's something else that's came out. So now, moving on to another story. So I'm sure you guys know about the Florida school mass shooting that happened. 17 people are dead. 17 people are dead because this motherfucking 19-year-old came in and shot up the school. Now, Florida has horrific gun laws. We had one happen in Orlando, of course, too, which was crazy as fuck. So Tomi Lahren sent this tweet out. She said, "Can the left let the families grieve for even 24 hours before they push their anti-gun and anti-gun owner agenda? My goodness, this isn't about a gun. It's about another lunatic. Hashtag Florida shooting." So somehow, some way, and you tell me if this is even possible, this abortion of a tweet got 48,700 favorites. I'm pretty sure a good amount of those have to be bots, right? How the fuck could this abortion of a tweet get damn near almost half 100,000 favorites? This utter garbage got that many fucking favorites. So, this is something that's obviously a massive hypocrisy, because if this was an immigrant, a brown dude, or if it was a refugee, or if it was a terrorist attack, she'd be saying, "Oh, we need to do this, we need to do that." Fuck 24 hours, bitch. You'd be going on it the minute you saw that shit. As soon as you see that shit on the news, oh, let me go on Twitter and just fucking go, oh, this, all that, brown dudes, get them out, no refugees, blah, blah, blah. Fuck you, you piece of shit. Fuck you. Even Philip DeFranco sent out a tweet responding to this abortion of a tweet saying, you can usually tell what the race, color, and birthplace of the shooter is due to her reactions, which was, I thought, a fucking impeccable tweet with impeccable timing, because it was absolutely correct 100% of the way. Absolutely 100% of the way. So Tomi Lahren's a complete idiot. I don't know who the fuck is a fan of Tomi Lahren? There's being a fan of Ben Shapiro, there's being a fan of Stephen Carter, there's being a fan of whoever the fuck you want to say. And under that, there's being a fan of Tomi Lahren. You have just the bottom of the fucking barrel. Yeah, the barrel, the absolute fucking bottom, right? Right before you're about to get out that fucking barrel is Tomi Lahren. If you are a Tomi Lahren fan, you need to rethink what the fuck you're doing, what the fuck you're thinking, and what the fuck you're saying. Because Tomi Lahren is a complete horrific human being. So, now, there is a student who is a survivor, at the school shooting, who fucking clapped the fuck back at this dumb bitch. So it says, however, a student at the high school who had classmates killed in the massacre was not impressed by Lahren's attacks on gun safety advocates, and she absolutely let her have it in response to her tweet. This is what her tweet said. It said, "A gun has killed 17 of my fellow classmates. A gun has traumatized my friends, my entire school, traumatized from this tragedy. This could have been prevented. Please shut the fuck up, Tomi." And I was about to say Tomi, but you guys keep telling me Tomi. Which is, again, a terrible fucking name for a girl, but, that's besides the point. So she's absolutely right. This argument that guns don't kill people, people kill people, is massively stupid. Because what we're trying to, guns are clearly a hazard, especially in the hands of people, because they enhance the ability of someone to kill exponentially more people than they would be able to with anything else. Okay? Things, anything that's a danger, we have to regulate, and we have to put certain regulations on it. So cars, anything. I love to say this, why don't you just apply that logic to nukes? Or literally fucking anything. I don't care what it is. It could be literally anything. A car. Just consider anything that could be a possible danger to public safety. Just say anything. Nukes don't kill people the way you say it. People kill people. So why not allow nukes to be used? And I know a lot of people are, it's a dumb example and this shit. Again, use any example. I don't give a fuck. And I tell you guys, analogies are a bitch. But this is something where, an analogy, kind of claps back at that. Again, cars is another good example. You have to regulate cars a lot. When I say a lot, I mean a lot. Okay, because it is a massive danger to public safety. I mean a massive danger. So there are things that are a danger to public safety that we choose that we must regulate. The guns. The Orlando shooter, I think, killed I can't remember. I think it was over 50 people, maybe a lot. It was a lot of people. There's no way in hell with anything else he could have killed that many people. All these, recent mass shootings have been done with the AR-15. And Florida, of course, has the worst gun laws. And they also have the stand your ground law, which is just fucking horrendous. So, this is just, again, an abortion of a statement, an abortion of some kind of truism, or, saying, I gotcha, guns don't kill people, people kill people. I don't give a fuck, you dumbass. I want the people who are killing people are going to kill more people with the gun, so we have to regulate the gun. You're not some kind of Einstein or genius for trying to say this. So, yeah, so that's going to conclude this mega show. Sorry I didn't have that many stories, but I couldn't find all that many to talk about today, but please become a patron, patreon.com/theprogressivevoice. Check out, the previous videos. Just did an interview with the Rational Nationals, David Dole. You can actually go check that out as well. But I appreciate you guys coming through. Have a nice day. And I probably will be streaming on Twitch later.